this world is wrong to be.
Welcome to the WWF Bad Blood podcast. This is Dave along with Jess.
Hey, Dave, you got a liter of cola?
Yeah, cuz.
Woo!
And Craig.
Hey, I'm a journalist.
Bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling.
You have it bad these days.
No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. And now on to our topic today. In your house, Bad Blood 97. Hit us up on Instagram at OWP2019. Click on Linktree. You can find us on several platforms, including Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast. But don't forget, we're also part of the Wrestle Hub family, all about wrestling podcasts. Catch them at the Wrestle Hub on YouTube and Instagram. Guys, you ready for some Bad Blood?
Yes. I'm telling you right now, my fucking mustache is not going to make it, so I will be ripping it off.
But I would like a liter of cola.
Yes, I would like a liter of cola.
I don't know what that is.
Just letting everybody know. Right now, just take a picture of this, and then that'll be it. And it's Halloween, spooky. It's Halloween.
It is Halloween. That's why we're doing this Bad Blood episode, and we're dressed up like a bunch of jackasses.
For the fans, we do it for the fans.
Yeah,
God damn it,
all of them. There's a lot of them. So. I got my hair slicked back as my best Dracula I possibly can be.
Blah.
We do have a fantastic journalist who is extraordinarily strong and can leap tall buildings in a single bound, I believe.
I'm just a mild-mannered.
Faster than a speeding bullet.
Yeah, faster than speeding bullet. That's right. And we got Farbra with the soap. Got you good, fucker. Yeah. So good. And then we got Sting. It's Sting.
Man, they call Sting.
Yeah, the man they call Sting. So you guys mind if I try to crack open the beginning of In Your House Bad Blood? Just I want to give this a try. See if we can rack this up. So In Your House Bad Blood took place in 1997 in the St. Louis, Missouri, the Kiel Center. Attendance, according to the pay-per-view, was 21,151.
It's a good house.
Yeah, it's a big house. We got Vince McMahon, JR, and the King on the mics today, and we've got Fink as our announcer for almost all the matches. We do have a guest announcer that we'll probably make fun of in a minute. But that's the gist of it. Where are we at in the wrestling world? Where are we at with with WCW at the time? What do you got?
This was the same month as Halloween Havoc 97, which was actually heavily praised for the... See, the mustache just went off. Fuck it. I'm not doing it. It just fell off. I'm not doing it anymore. This was about 3 weeks before Halloween Havoc 97. Where in WCW land, Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero tore the house down in their Cruiserweight Classic that they had at Halloween Havoc 97. But Halloween Havoc 97 was heavily criticized for the main event, which was Hulk Hogan and Rowdy Piper in a steel cage. People were calling it the Battle of the Dinosaurs. People called it like the Battle of the Old. People called it, it was really bad. So in that followed this pay-per-view. So this pay-per-view happened early in October, and Halloween Havoc was like 3 weeks later, and they did not do a good job in matching main event for main event. I'll tell you that before we even get to the main event here. However, WCW was still firmly in control of the Monday Night Wars. WCW was the #1 United States promotion here. NWO was still pulling in the ratings. Hulk Hogan was world champion. I don't remember all the other champions over there, but yeah, they were still a center point, NWO at this point. They were not showing. However, a few months later, in April of 1998, which was November, December, January, March, 6 months later, WWF would win the ratings war for the first time in 83 weeks. Here, Austin was not yet the white hot Austin that we know. The Rock is just starting to blossom here. DX are even in their infantile stages here. They're not really full on what we knew DX to be yet either. So WWF at the end of 97, a lot of people say this is the favorite time of WWF because they were just beaten for so long that Vince was finally like, let's do whatever you want to do. Let's just try fucking anything. And a lot of things missed, but a lot of things were hitting. And we'll talk about some things. You can see it here. And the fact that they had 21,000 people at this event is pretty fucking phenomenal. I was like, whoa, when I was doing research, I was like, you know, and I watched the show in preparation for this. There's a lot of people there, but when I read Wikipedia and saw it was 21,000, I was like, man, like I was not ready for that. So they were actually starting to come back here. The Raw ratings were slowly coming up here. WCW, like I said, was still in control. But if you go back and look at it, it reads like a story. You just see the uptick of ratings starting here at the end of 97, getting up. Earlier in 1997, Vince was considering going back to being a regional company. No shit. He was discussing about, letting go 25% of his roster and going just towards like the New York area, New Jersey, kind of the same places that the WWF did in market, the past. Yeah, he was going to kind of just retreat for a bit and try to figure things out or whatever. Thank God they didn't. But here you started to see them just starting to fight their way out and starting to connect with their crowd. And there's a couple obvious characters here that we'll get into that really started connecting with people and changed the wrestling landscape. Starting with this main event, to be honest. Let's jump into this mother trucker. The first episode, Dave, and you're gonna have to narrate me through the interview segments here. Sure, I wrote a couple of them down because they some made me angry.
Because they made you giggle and angry, yeah.
The opening bout was a handicap match. The Nation of Domination, D'Lo Brown, Kama Mustafa, and Rocky Maivia defeated the Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal, in a 3-on-2 handicap match. 12 minutes, 20 seconds. I'm just going to go over my notes so I don't get long-winded here. Huge pop for LOD. Yeah. The Rock took to becoming heel so fucking naturally. He was struggling as face Rocky Maivia and all that. And then he comes here. He was fresh with the Nation here at this point, I believe. He was just so good in there, so much more of a natural heel. All his moves were crisp. I'm not used to seeing him that young and that good. You forget, he became so formulaic later in his career with just, with his 4 big moves or 5 big moves. But back here, he worked really well. He was a big reason why I enjoyed this match. Maybe it's because we recently did the legacy of LOD, but I really enjoyed this tag match. It was just basic, but it was hard hitting. There was really no flubs at all. I give it a huge thumbs up. I was really, I didn't think I was going to like it because I was like, no, comma. But then like when I really saw, they all worked really well. Like I said, The Rock really shocked me, and Hawk and Animal they were energized. They wanted to put these guys over and they wanted to work hard. So total thumbs up. Go ahead, Dave.
Rocky sucks. Of course, the newest member of the Nation of Domination, who stepped in after Ahmed Johnson was excommunicated from the Nation. Rocky Johnson with a chip on his shoulder.
No doubt about it, and certainly Ahmed Johnson, who's watching at home in Houston, Texas, has a huge score to settle with the Nation of Domination as well.
Yeah, so the reason why it's a handicap match, by the way, is Ken Shamrock apparently got injured by Farouk's antics. Messed him up pretty good, so it was supposed to be a 3-on-3, but it became a handicap match. And Hawk said, "We don't care, we'll fight you anyway." Blah blah blah. Let's get it on. I think those are the terms he said at the end. And I in my notes I have The Rock, to my estimation, went about 5 minutes and only took 1 bump, and the crowd was losing their mind. That's how good The Rock was already becoming at this point. Still not a world champion. At all. I think maybe a 1 or 2 time Intercontinental champion at this point only.
Nothing. No, he wasn't anything here.
He never got.
1 time. He was one time.
One time I see.
He was one time
because he did win it as a face. So
yeah.
I couldn't believe his theatrics were ready. I just forgot how good he was becoming right here. I also forgot how big D'Lo was. Holy crap, that was a big dude. He's a big SOB. And I have the LOD tried to get their Doomsday device, but it was thwarted by Farouk. And then there were some heel tactics, and the Nation of Domination takes over and wins that match. But I think there was even a point in here where Hawk does a standing dropkick that's phenomenal. Even though they're a bit older, like they were still putting on some great moves. But at this moment, there's so many reasons why the match is good. It is a thumbs up, but also because the right people won. The people that you're going to push for years to come, like Rocky, which is going to be The Rock, obviously. Those are the people that need wins like that. LOD is good still, but they're on their way out. It's the right move for the right reasons. You can't push LOD forever, right? So there's so many reasons why it's a thumbs up, but that's where I'm at. What do you guys got?
Go ahead, guys. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I tricked you, huh, Craig?
It's Halloween, trick or treat, bud. Trick. Yeah, man. Actually, going back on what Jess said about since we just did the Legion of Doom episode, it's actually crazy to think because I started thinking about like, man, like these guys started such a long time ago, and then like still seeing them here in the beginning of the Attitude Era, and then they still go on into the 2000s, or at least at the beginning of the 2000 when they become LOD 2000. But it's so cool to see them there in the beginning of the Attitude Era. It'd be like having a Hogan or Rock, from that era, like that big star power. The larger than life characters, and then Nation of Domination, man. I gotta tap into Kid Cuz here. Like when I was a kid and I saw Nation of Domination, regardless if Vince McMahon was like, haha, we're gonna make fun of certain groups in real life or whatever, and you're gonna be the Nation of Domination and you're gonna mimic real life groups or whatever. They made you feel like they were legit tough guys that will fuck you up. And then Kama was huge. Too bad he wasn't better than he was, because like that guy looked like a big imposing, like he could be one of your top heels if he was better in the ring. But, I mean, he did good with his characters still. And The Rock, of course, you saw him growing to be what we know as, The Rock today. I don't even think they called it the Rock Bottom yet, because he pulled the move off. He hit the Rock Bottom, and Vince didn't even refer to it as the Rock Bottom. So I don't know if they'd even named that move yet. And I know it was before the
front thingy.
But it was a good match.
Front thingy.
Oh,
he actually didn't even do it the same way. He kicked out their legs a little bit harder when he did it.
Yeah, no, yeah. Everyone's finisher at the beginning when they first introduce it, it's fucking always better. The stunner.
Yeah,
it's completely improvised.
But like Jess said on paper, when I saw it, I was like, oh man, I don't know if it's gonna be a great match. This is gonna be the opening match, and it's got to be an opener. And it was good. It was good. And I give it a thumbs up. And all the names in there, you got to give it a thumbs up. I give it a thumbs up.
Clark, go on.
Yeah, thumbs up. It was good to see kind of Rock working with Hawk and Animal before he was The Rock. I think Kama's in the best shape of his life. They're surprisingly really good working together, the Nation of Domination. And Farouk, there's a lot of Nation of Domination in this pay-per-view, and I think they took up a lot of the era too at this time too. And they, as Cuz said, legit tough guys, and you absolutely believable. And you can get that from Hawk basically seeing the lights at the end of this. True, and they were covered because it was a handicap 3-on-2 match. Yeah, but Animal was the workhorse, and this is a good match. I mean, nothing to add than what's been said, but surprisingly, shockingly good, and it was good to see.
So I want to kind of take over for a minute because I'm going to lead you into the bit of, for lack of a better term, just fuckery that's about to happen right now. This is so bad. And one thing that we definitely forgot to talk about, but I think it's best that we didn't, is at the very beginning of the show, Vince McMahon announces Brian Pillman's death.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have some tragic news to report. Approximately 5 o'clock Central Time, we here in the World Wrestling Federation were notified that Brian Pillman has passed away. Brian Pillman was last with the World Wrestling Federation last night in St. Paul, Minnesota. And he was found dead in his hotel room in Bloomington, Minnesota this afternoon. At this juncture, we do not have any more information other than to tell you that Brian Pillman is dead. We here at the World Wrestling Federation offer our condolences to the Pillman family.
All right, we didn't even touch on it. Yeah, that's right.
That's number one. Okay, but
I think they found out the night before is when it happened. Yeah. And they announced it on the free-for-all before the pay-per-view went live, but then Vince was coming back here to the live pay-per-view audience and letting them know.
Yeah, so this is the issue that I see, right? First,
and by the way, sorry, this was scheduled to be the blow-off match, I think, between Goldust and Brian Pillman.
Correct, yeah. So that was going to be the match that was coming up in a minute. But they announced the death right at the start of the show. They do start off with a great opening match that we just discussed. Then we get to this is what really is so annoying. But they go to Sonny and Doc for the 900 line. By the way, did any of you guys call the 900 line in your time? Did you spend?
I did a couple times, but I thought it was an adult line that Sonny would answer. But when I called, they just told me a bunch of shit I already knew by reading.
Jess, what's up? You want me to pee on
you guys excited about Eli and Jacob Blue? I'm like, no, I'm not. I thought that I was going to have private time.
But then after that, Vince gives a condolences for Brian Pillman's family, and then he says, we scrambled a bit, but we hope that we bring you something that's just as good for your entertainment. And what does he bring out? What does he bring out?
Yeah.
So the next match is a minis match. Max Mini and Nova against Mosaic and Tarantula. I know it might not have been, or it wasn't designed to come off this way, or maybe it was. But Vince McMahon said, we scrambled, like Dave said, and we put together a match that you hope will be acceptable. Basically saying to replace Brian Pillman versus Goldust. I just wrote, it may not have been meant to come across this way, but a mini match is never a suitable tribute or replacement for Brian Pillman's career. And I was actually instantly triggered and pissed when Vince worded it like that. Yeah. And then we go into this shit match, which I give a thumbs down, not because it's the match that filled in for Brian Pillman, but because the minis are stupid and the minis are stupid and boring, and they never were entertaining. I don't care what anybody says. And I hated it back there. 1997 just hated this shit. A minis division made no sense. And it was once again WWF's inability. One of the few things that WCW actually did right was harvest their cruiserweight division and make it complete must-see television. WWF tried with their light heavyweight division, couldn't duplicate it. They threw the minis at us. They couldn't duplicate it. This was ridiculous. This was a conscious choice, by the way, to put this on after he announced Brian Pillman's death. I don't know what he was trying to do here. I really don't.
But you can't tell me. This is the thing that really bothers me about the whole thing. And I'll chime in, guys, anytime. I'm sorry. This really makes me mad. I think I'm taking over more than I normally do. But you can't tell me you didn't have someone else in the back. You can't fucking tell me that.
Or like I said earlier, before we hit record, you knew about his death the night before. Play a 5-minute tribute video to him.
You can do that
instead of the shit match.
You know Triple H and China were in the back because they came out along with the final match. Yeah. So you had something. You had
Goldust was open still, like he could. Yeah. But the thing is, guys, I feel like I'm going to split hairs here because the one thing that this happened to me is I completely forgot about the death of Brian Pillman because I was so kind of giggly and enthralled about the little people, and I was like, Max Mini is like the smallest professional athlete, and I was like, I think Vince did a good job. He distracted me, and then I said, who's Brian Pillman? I forget what he just said. Look at these little guys. That was amazing. So mission accomplished, Vince, and it was fantastic. And I was a big tarantula mark after this. So I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Is that sarcasm? Is that?
Tarantula was the best looking character there.
But it was ridiculous. It was completely tone deaf, and we'll talk about it later. But Vince used this to somehow. You've already got the $39. Like, I don't know why you keep teasing updates on Pillman's death. You keep eating and feasting off his body, you dick. Horrible but man. This was the start of something completely disgraceful.
We'll get to the next segment because it's go. We're gonna have.
And
a lot
let's
more
not forget, we're gonna have Sonny come out and be a guest announcer for the Godwins versus the Headbangers.
Yes. So Sonny comes out. The next match is the Godwins. Henry O and Phineas defeat the Headbangers, Mosh and Thrasher, who were the defending tag team champions. So the Godwins win the WWF Tag Team Championships here. 12 minutes and 17 seconds of a slow death. I love me some Sunny, but her outfit was ridiculous.
Yeah.
As far as the match is concerned,
it wasn't.
I wrote, "Why God, why? What did I do?" The Headbangers were so awful. They almost killed Phineas on a double backdrop spot.
Yes.
12 minutes. What the fuck? Thumbs down. I absolutely hate the Headbangers. I hate them. People actually did start to take to them here in 97. I don't see
the appeal in these guys.
People start to take to them because I think they were just a little different here, and the goth/punk thing was kind of a thing here. And
did you notice some people like them? Back into his own mouth at the beginning.
Yeah, that was the most talented thing, actually.
That's the best thing they could do. The Godwins actually. The match. Low key, when the Godwins came out and they were just evil hog farmers walking out, they were kind of menacing looking. I'm gonna be honest.
They were.
They weren't bad workers. And I like the heel hog farmers rather than the face when they had Hillbilly Jim as their manager.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind the heel Godwins here, but headbangers were so bad. They flubbed so many moves in here.
Yeah.
The timing was off. They were trying to be innovative. I don't want to shit on them because they're, they put their bodies on the line, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I just couldn't stand them. I never liked them. I never got their appeal. I thought that most matches they were in, they were sloppy and they messed shit up. Like I said, they almost killed. If Phineas didn't tuck his head on the last minute of that double backdrop, he would have landed straight on his head.
Did they work hard though?
They worked really hard. Thumbs down.
Phineas.
Thumbs down, cuz go ahead.
I was going to say, actually, when I watched that spot, I think it was more Phineas thought it was going to be a back body drop. And then he remembered last second, like, oh shit, it was supposed to be a flapjack. And then he's like, well, fuck.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. He thought.
I think that's what it was. And then Thrash.
I still blame headbangers.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they suck. But Thrash, his stupid fucking Hurricane Rana off the apron to the outside. Oh my god, that was so slow, so stupid looking. It reminded me of the fucking WWF Warzone game on Nintendo 64. The way
and they botched the ending too. The ending was botched.
Yeah, all of it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was horrible.
A sloppy powerbomb reversal, no appeal, sloppy.
I agree with the Hot God ones. Yeah, thumbs down. But I agree with the Hot God ones. I love the Hot God ones.
Mr. Kent.
I don't want to talk about it.
And that was an extraordinary maneuver by Phineas. Is that enough to win the tag team title? Yes! Phineas having presence of mind to back up, putting more distance between himself and Mosh. And this has really paid off. Can you imagine this?
Yes! Two things.
Give your thumbs, dude.
One, I can't stop looking at Cuz's Sting makeup.
Looks great. Looks really good.
Two, I know it's my job to watch all the matches on the pay-per-view. I did not watch this match. I clicked next. I had no interest. I went straight to the next version. Thumbs in the middle. Bring on the legends. Thank you. That's all. Thank you.
Thumbs in the middle. Yeah. Fuck. Wow.
And by the way,
you know why? You know why Sonny ran out there anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say you didn't watch it. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So the next segment, we won't go into this a lot. I actually like the legend segment because I'm a big softie for nostalgia.
We're not even there yet.
We
have to go through another Stone Cold promo. No friends. No allies. You're right.
Yep.
Stunning everyone that has an executive title.
I ain't no sexy.
And the decision is being held till Raw the next night. What he's going to do if he can actually wrestle in the WWE anymore.
Spike here, Michael Cole.
But he is handing the title down to the winner of the Owen Hart Farouk match.
So, but the next segment pissed me off even more than the original one because he goes back to Brian Pillman now. Back at his stupid announce table. I'm so mad at Vince. I have his dumb face in my head right now. Sitting there going, we have more on the development. I'm like, really? Oh, you're a newscaster now, you motherfucker? Like, he died. You could just stop talking about him and bumming out the viewing audience, that people that are watching it at home. We don't want to keep being reminded every fucking 20 seconds that somebody really died, especially somebody like Pillman, who everybody knew. And then he said something to the effect of, we know there's no foul play, but we think it could be an overdose, possible self-inflicted or something.
Yeah,
and I'm
recreation
like,
or illegal drug.
Yeah. You fuck. And I laughed, but out of anger, because I'm like, you don't even know the avalanche that this death started, because people started dropping like flies over the next 7 years. And like, you fucker, you were on this pay-per-view trying to politicize it, trying to get ahead of it and be like, it's his doing. It's self-inflicted. It's, I don't know if it's
he said something like, overdose, which is prevalent in all sports and all of entertainment, or like something like not just us, you guys, it's everyone else.
It pissed me off, and I was like, God, man. And I don't remember being this mad in 1997, probably because I was in my 20s and I didn't give a shit. But I mean, like, now I watch it now and I'm like, this is a bunch of fucking garbage.
Yeah, but we're still like, it's fine. We still got Benoit. We still got Guerrero. We don't need
nothing will ever happen to Guerrero or Benoit or anybody like that.
Benoit,
Mr. Perfect's totally fine.
Yeah. And it's so, it makes you so mad. We jump right into it. We forget there was actually an interview with Owen Hart and Farouk.
Fumbled a lot, dude.
He's the best at being the worst. Owen Hart.
I think he thrives
He's nervous
on it
every time.
Yeah, I think he thrives on it. So, but then we have our next match. We have Farouk versus Owen.
It was Owen against Farouk for the vacant Intercontinental Championship because in August, Austin was dropped on his head by accident by Owen Hart, but Austin still won the IC title, so he had to vacate it. So they put it in a particularly shitty tournament. Let me just go over the fucking shitty brackets with you. Brian Pillman defeated Dude Love by disqualification in the first round. Owen Hart defeated Goldust by disqualification in the first round. Farouk beat Shamrock because Shamrock couldn't continue. Ahmed Johnson pinned, holy shit, a pin, Rocky Maivia. That was that was an internal fight between the nation. I don't know. That might have caused Rocky to join the nation. I don't remember. It was right in that gray area. Then the next round, the semifinals, was Brian Pillman losing to Owen Hart by disqualification. Farouk beating Ahmed Johnson by disqualification. Now they're both in the finals for the Intercontinental title, and they both win it, but they both get into the finals by disqualification victories. Like this, 80% of this tournament was DQ fucking victories.
Wow. What the
versus
heel?
What the
this is all in Rio de Janeiro,
are we doing here? This is Vince Russo's fucking fingerprints all over it. And like, so now we have the finals here, 2 heels against each other, and thank Sassy Molassy Jesus that Stone Cold Steve Austin was here, because if Austin was not, this was a shitty match. And I love Owen and I love Farouk, but they didn't gel. Both characters were heels, so why does anybody give a fuck? Even though people were a little confused at the end when Austin cheated to help Owen win, but later when Austin announced that he could wrestle again, he said it's because he dropped me on my head. He's the reason why I want him to have the belt so I can beat him again for it. So that made sense. So that was fine. I liked that booking aspect of it. You didn't find out to the next night on Raw that that's why he did it, but the crowd was sort of stunned when he cheated for Owen because people were like, did he just side with Owen? But then he walked off, and then Jim Ross at the end expertly said, I'll tell you what, they are not adversaries. They are not friends. Like, so I was like, thank God you said something, because Vince is drunk and didn't say anything, and Jerry didn't say anything either about it. I was like, thank God Jim Ross is the only one who fucking sticks up for Austin, and he's just like, but yeah, this is a fucking big storyline, fuckers. Say something. And he said it.
About that? And no body hold. And Sergeant Slaughter. There with, wait a minute, what's this? Oh! Austin just nailed Farouk in the head with a belt! For what? And Owen Hart's the new Intercontinental Champion! What is this? Austin just threw the title!
Just what you say is that when Vince is on the mic, he can't think of anything good or correct or even anything to say at certain moments. But when he's in the back and
he's good at barking your head off.
No problem yelling in their ear for the entire fucking pay-per-view.
It's a championship. It's a championship.
The whole point of this.
Keep saying it. You hear it all
my
the time.
notes really quick.
All the time.
I know I ranted. My notes were, my God, Austin saved that company. And like in so many different ways when you just watch it. I hate heel versus heel matches, but with Austin there, it gave him a reason, blah, blah, blah. I gave it a thumbs in the middle because they weren't terrible in there, but they never gelled. They never got out of second gear. Austin made me laugh going to the different commentary booths, etc. And thank God Jim Ross told us the fucking story at the end. Like, I was so already mad at Vince. I didn't even want to hear his voice when he commentated. I was half expecting him after that. Wow, isn't it weird that Austin helped Owen win? Brian Pillman probably took tons of drugs to kill himself. Anyway, let's go. Like, I was half expecting that because that's what he's been doing all night. But that's go ahead, Dave. What did you think about this match?
The best part about this match is before it starts, and I'll explain that in a second. And then, like you said, Stone Cold antics in the middle of the match. So Owen comes out with the "I just broke your neck" shirt, which I think is fabulous.
Which is great.
Number one. There's I don't know if you guys caught it, but at the beginning when Farouk comes out, there's a couple of fans that give the nation sign and then immediately
yes, I was going to mention it. It was hilarious.
Like, oh my God, that was amazing. I was laughing so hard when I saw that. And then Austin actually takes the bell hammer and rings the bell. Like, he's just taking over.
It was a wrench, by the way.
It was a wrench.
Was it? It was a wrench.
It was crazy.
And it's like they're so poor they can't even afford a ring.
Didn't Jerry say when Austin first sat down? Didn't Jerry say something like he tried to get uppity with Austin, and then Austin said something like, "Come on over here then," and then Jim Ross goes, "There's no anchor on your ass. Why don't you get up and go over there, Jerry?" And it was really funny. I was like.
There's that, and then he takes over Vince's headset, and then he takes over Jerry's headset, and they're like, well, I think it was something like, well, don't do us a favor or anything. JR says, and then when he gives it back to him, he's like, no, your headset doesn't work anymore. Can y'all hear me? He's like, no, we don't hear a thing. We don't hear anything. And then he goes over to the Spanish announce table and starts talking to Tito, because Tito Santana was there. And that's just a little
what are you talking about, me, Tito?
Yeah, and then he does the same thing with the French announcer. Like you speaking French, but it sounds like you're talking trash. And they're like, no. He's like, okay, good, all right. So I'm gonna be at Survivor Series, just so you know. And I was like, oh my god, this guy's just a genius.
I'll be in there in Montreal.
Like I said, if it weren't for him, and then he takes over the match even more, and obviously decides who's going to win that match. And the anvil comes out for no reason whatsoever. Just to look jacked up because he's going to die next, apparently. So, because he's a...
Wow.
Good Lord. Wow. He's going to die for a little bit.
Wow. He dies much later.
He does die much later. I'm sorry.
Piece of shit, Dave.
Yeah, I'm
Craig, what did you think about this match?
The only comment
and by the way, sorry, well, I said it before, but Owen is the new Intercontinental Champion, which sets up perfectly. Sorry, go ahead, Craig.
Because Stone Cold Steve Austin hits Farouk, and I try to look at what the angles were to see whether he pulled anything back from it. It looks like he hit him so effing hard in the head with the Intercontinental title. It was just perfect. So well done. And then he just books it out of the ring. But that's the only note that I had. I was like, he hits him so hard. So he made that segment. He was the funniest thing in the world.
You had the same note about those guys flipping the bird off the.
Yeah, and then I saw that. I was like, a couple of racists doing like the it was hilarious. Oh, that's what we would have done back then if we would have seen the Nation back in the day.
Yeah,
we probably
what did you think here?
It's good.
Finals of the Intercontinental title, where all the stipulations of the tournament, by the way, up to this match was you had to win by DQ. I forgot to mention that earlier. So this is the finals.
So Owen didn't win because he pinned the guy and didn't win by DQ.
Yeah, right. I think they took the title away from him.
What does Owen say at the end, like twice after he's walking off?
I did it all by myself.
I
did it all by myself.
Which says like he's self-aware. Like he's, for all his flubs and kicked your leg out of your leg and he screwed up the promo before this, he still gets it. And
he was legitimately gifted.
He was great. And I think, that's what I was also going to say. There was a juxtaposition between this because Stone Cold Steve Austin was there. He was a close friend of Pillman, Hollywood Blondes tag team partner. Pillman was in the Foundation. Owen seemed distracted and seemed like it truly affected him during this. Yeah. And then, but Austin seemed to power through and you could not tell. But Owen definitely was not 100% Owen through this. And
I think
you
Stone
could tell
Cold was
with
pissed
Pillman.
off and he was more of an asshole here than usual. And it just comes off as Stone Cold.
Yeah, and I think Stone Cold's just better at closing off. Like he's just always, I think he's just a loner in general and can manage to compartmentalize. But you know,
it's easy when you're playing a dick though to everybody.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So, cuz you got anything on that? Sorry,
just thumbs in the middle, just because, like we all said, Stone Cold. I can't give it a thumbs down because that segment or all of his interactions and involvement in the match made it that much more enjoyable from a thumbs down, but I can't give it a thumbs up because the match wasn't good. But I just from the beginning when Stone Cold came out and he was looking at Owen Hart and he was just sitting over there.
Yeah,
holding it up like that. Yeah, that shit was fucking funny. And then Craig, that's what I thought too when he hit him with that belt. When he hit Farouk, I was like, God damn! And I think there was a little welt on Farouk's head too.
Yeah,
I noticed that. But yeah, thumbs in the middle.
It's also the only match that I remember, and I think Owen did it more. But I don't know if he did it here and it was planned or not. But he did a dead weight on Farouk again, and he falls on Farouk. Farouk picks him up for a slam.
Oh yeah.
He just dead weights him.
He did do that, for the pin.
Falls.
Oh.
Because Farouk could have picked him up anyway, but you can tell they put it in there.
It probably was a receipt, like because Farouk threw him around like a rag doll like 5 times, and Owen was probably just like, okay, fine,
he's like, God damn it,
you're not getting this one. Yeah.
Owen Hart's spinning heel kick, I love. That's my favorite spinning heel kick.
Yeah. There you go.
Do we have an interview segment, Dave? I don't remember.
We have a replay of the Hart Foundation pummeling Patriot and Vader before.
Oh, good.
To set that matchup, I guess, as to why that's happening. And they're trying to say that Vader has the flu and Vader's hurt and this and that. And Lawler's getting upset. Well, is she going to be able to fight? Are these Americans going to do what they got to do? Like, oh, shut up, Jerry.
Just shut up. USA?
And I don't know why they're projecting so much onto them, but it makes you feel like they're going to lose, which is just ridiculous. So I don't know, it was just dumb. And that takes us into our next match. And I'm just like,
this was an 8-man tag team match, 9 minutes and 11 seconds. The Disciples of Apocalypse against Los Boricuas. I don't have the strength. Thumbs down. I fucking hate
thumbs down. 8-man tag. I forgot Crush was here as well, trying to get reinvented again. And yeah. It's horrible.
You want to impress me? Name 3 Boricuas. Thumbs down on this. WWF at this point in 97 is basically New Japan. There's so many factions going on right now. This match is horrible. I didn't watch it.
I almost skipped it. I'm not gonna lie.
But DOA apparently win because I did see the end, and I was like, Crush has tattoos on his head, and it was just
question. I can name 3.
I know you can. I know you can.
Vega and Savio Vega. That's all I have to know.
Fantastic.
So was there another shitty? Didn't Brett get interviewed?
Yeah, Michael Cole is with Brett and Davey.
Michael Cole.
He's a
baby. What the fuck is he doing?
He's a tiny baby.
He's a back ring. He's a back ring.
He's a Goo Goo Gaga Brett. Hi,
and he weighs about 97 pounds here as well.
1-2. He's got a diaper and a rattle. Goo Goo Bret Hart. Goo Goo Canada.
How come you get to win?
And Craig will talk about it, but Davey flubbed this interview as well. It was bad.
No, he didn't. He was perfect.
Oh, they're both perfect. I love them both.
And so we get into the flag match. Right here, they talk about the flag match between, obviously.
So, it's a tag team flag match. The British Bulldog and Bret Hart representing the Nation.
Because British Bulldog is Canadian. It makes no fucking sense. Right.
Which took on the Patriot and Vader. So each team had the flag in their corner. Patriot had the Japanese flag, oddly. No, I'm just kidding. Patriot and Vader had the American flag, and Bret Hart bullied Bulldog and carried the Canadian flag out. So that was, they put those on each opposite end of the ring, right? So they're on the ring poles on each opposite end of the ring. Okay, fine. So far, normal flag match. Normal rules in a flag match are it's like capture the flag.
Yes. There you go. I'm glad you said that.
All it is a regular match, and the winners get to go and they get to desecrate the other person's flag while they wave theirs. That also has been a stipulation in the past. WWF just thought here, let's do all of it. Let's say, and I think the way Fink announced it was just like, this is a flag match. By the way, we
added a few more stipulations.
Yeah, they just added stipulations of you can win by pinfall or submission or capturing your opponent's flag. So
and at that moment, I thought I was in WCW again with a bunch of crazy fucking rules.
That didn't make any sense.
Down into the steel steps. Meanwhile, the Patriot in the ring with Bret Hart, and wait a minute. Bret Hart just got the pin. Bret Hart just got the pin. He got him.
So the ending happened when Bret pinned the Patriot with the reverse cradle, and so the pinfall happened, and nobody raised their flag. It didn't make any fucking sense that they had a flag match if nobody did it. Even if it's just Bret standing in the middle of the ring, they leave the heels, and Patriot and Vader are all wounded in the ring going, "Are you okay, brother? You okay?" You know, like they normally do, the faces do when they get beat. What happened? I don't know. What the fuck happened to you?
You know what I think happened here?
I got my shoulder up.
I think someone made these flag poles and made them set up, and they had no time to adjust them or cut them or something. I don't know. And they looked at them like,
they were so tall.
Yeah, none of us are going to get that.
But not
Vince
even
was
that.
pissed.
That's fine.
In the very beginning, he was like, the crew is having trouble with it while we wait for the apparatus that holds the flags to be put up. And I think the crew was having trouble.
There, weren't they?
Vince was like seething at him, like in the beginning when they were putting up the flags.
So, anyway, to talk about something else, we think that Brian Pillman also, this is speculation, did heroin.
Wow.
So we don't know. Anyway, back to the ring. Like, I'm surprised
and
again.
He made the
that
flag.
And
by the way, for those of you that don't know,
no fault of my company.
Jess always has to tell me, but the Patriot was Del Wilkes, right?
Yes. Who was Southpaw? And I always forget he's Southpaw until I watch him wrestle, and I'm like, God damn, that guy's a Southpaw.
You can see him lock up that way.
I have no further comment than that.
So, and what's even funnier is he's using Kurt Angle's music before Kurt Angle.
Yes. Very good note. Very good note. So also, may I say that. So they go out of their way to say, an added stipulation is you could win by pinfall or submission. And then all the guys start to brawl before the match starts, which made it look like a no DQ match, but it wasn't. Yeah. So they did this whole outside brawl.
No, you can't DQ anyone.
They get back in the ring and then they start the match. But then during the match, they go outside the ring again. And I'm like, so is this a no DQ match or not? Like, fuck. Right. So I was annoyed by that. Rules matter, folks, in wrestling. I don't care what anybody says.
No, not in 97. Not in the flag.
I wanted to like this match more, but I just didn't. However, Vader did his fucking moonsault and landed on his fucking feet. That was, when I saw that, I was like, oh, like I screamed. I was like, this fucking guy, even though he was beat up, out of shape Vader here, did a moonsault from the top rope at 390 pounds, 380 pounds, and landed on his fucking feet. I was like, I was like, I can't. What? He's amazing. Vader is amazing. Like, really, even though
that adrenaline pumping through his body.
Yeah, and
which, by the way, Brian Pillman overdosed on.
The fan jumping in was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's right. The fan jumped in.
Bulldog
We've just received Brian Pillman's DUI police record.
Adrenaline was
anyway. Moonsault.
All right, that's
also at this point I want to take a time to bring out that he never really paid taxes. Anyway, so going forward, so the fan and Bulldog really wanted to clear shot at that fan's head. You saw Bulldog walk over when the fan went out, and Bulldog saw his head, and you saw Bulldog struggle on the inside internally with, I need to stay in character, but I would love to stomp his fucking head right now. And he tried a couple times, but then they got him outside the ring, and he kind of gave up. But I was like, at first I thought Bulldog was going to lunge at him and just take liberties, which he should have. Fuck fans who jump in the ring, stupid.
That was the best part of the match. When a fan comes in, that was the best part of this garbage 23 minutes. I also put,
why in the fuck was it a flag match if the winners didn't wave the flag? If the flags never came into play, why is it a flag match? I gave it a thumbs in the middle only because my soul will probably crumble if I give Bret Hart a thumbs down match. So
it wouldn't. He didn't want to be there. I give it a thumbs in the middle only because if I say thumbs down right now, I just feel like something bad's it's karma. Something bad's gonna happen to me. Go ahead, Craig. I know you're fired up about this. What do you think? Thumbs down. I kept, and the thing is, I kept watching this.
Craig, the British Bulldog was
it got better, and it was so long. My notes were Vader dropped a bullshit in his promo that made me laugh, and then Vince and JR apologized for it. Patriots. The best part about the Patriot was Angle's music. You guys need to check out the Legacy of Del Wilkes in the archives. Patriot looks so slow and hobbled and beat up. I felt kind of sorry for him. And actually,
he was messed up. Yeah,
he was gone in early '98, actually. And I know he was a pill popper, and he's been on some Stone Cold episodes where he's talked about his career. But it was sad watching him in this.
And also, he had no right to be in there. Really, I know it was the pay-per-view before, but I don't know if it was a month before or 2 months before at Ground Zero. Him and Bret had a singles match for the title. The main event was Taker and Shawn Michaels. You see the pattern? And Bret defended his title against Patriot, not in the main event, but they actually had a very, very good match the month before at Ground Zero. Yeah. That match is worth going back and watching. It was really good. So I was ultra disappointed watching this tag match and nothing gelled. Like Craig said, that he was really beat up. Go ahead, Craig. Sorry. What?
Yeah. I mean, thumbs down. And he was not to dwell on Patriot, but it's the perfect character. Like you can't boo that guy. Like he has the perfect body. He wears a mask. He's got great music. That was obviously repurposed, but I think you see a guy really at the end of his rope here. And these four just do not work together. They beat the shit out of each other. Bret's really trying. His expressions tries to keep it all together, but at this point it just doesn't. And it's 23 minutes. And I think Jess said earlier, like, if Sean gets 25, I'm getting 23. And it was just a poor choice.
There was a big internal struggle between Bret and Sean here. Bret was champion, and he's a traditionalist. Champion should go last. Sean and Taker were hot. And then they had this new concept here in the Hell in a Cell they were going to introduce. And we all know what Sean does when the spotlight's on Sean, he fucking excels. And so Bret was really pissed legitly here at the time. He was really upset that Michaels was getting more heat than he was. Bret was the champion and he was supposed to be the top heel, but Sean was scooping his heat. Scooping my heat.
Not even defending the title. Davey should have stuck to pants. Hart pulls the tights for a victory after these
piece of garbage.
But he has to pull the tights. Flags totally not necessary.
Wait, I forgot. Was Davey in shorts here?
Yeah.
Dave texted me last night and said, "What did you say?" I can't remember the actual text. He's like,
I said, "Hey Craig, can I ask you a question?" And I waited like 4 minutes for a response because I
hadn't seen the pay-per-view yet, so I didn't know what that was about.
I said, "Should Davey have stuck to pants?"
And I said something like, "He fell off the wheels. Wheels came off when he put on jeans, but I was okay with him in short tight."
But no, man.
And then I watched this today.
You were great.
And he had shitty, skinny skip leg day leg. So Dave was great.
So, Cuz, what do you think?
It was hard, man.
I'm sorry. Sting, what did you think, Sting? I apologize. I should have addressed you properly.
No, it was hard because, like you, I actually wanted to give it a thumbs up. That was your response.
You're fully in Sting character right now, so whenever the match is good, you're all Hollywood Hogan, and then when the match is bad, you just like don't talk. You just thumbs in the middle. You pound your chest.
Pound your chest like Sting, Cuz.
Do it, Cuz. Pound your chest.
What would you say?
Pound your chest like Sting.
Perform, Mikey. Perform.
Oh, well done. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That's how much I want to beat myself up right now because shit, my
Then you put your mic up to
sorry about that.
Sorry.
I'm Bret Hart now.
Do not be sorry. That was fantastic.
I actually wanted to give it a thumbs in the middle because, like you said, Jess, Bret Hart, but I give it a thumbs down. I out of all the pole matches of shit on a pole match, flags make the most sense. You know, being a Halo 5 player here, capture the flag is one of the modes in the game, and to me, it's like, okay, if you are gonna do a pole match in wrestling, do flags, do it like capture the flag. It's more legit than Viagra on a pole or whatever other fucking stupid shit they've had on a pole before in a match.
Judy Bagwell.
But it was too long. Maybe if it was shorter, it would have been a thumbs in the middle for me, but it was just too long. I couldn't get into it. I just couldn't. And then they added all those stipulations, which Gene Okerlund said, agreed by both parties. And yeah, I have to give it a thumbs down. I can't go with thumbs in the middle.
Yeah.
So, was there any segments, Dave? Shawn Michaels interview, I think here.
No, they did a fantastic Survivor Series promotion, and they said, if you buy Survivor Series and you show proof at this address, we will send you your free dog tag. So, Jess, I have to ask you, do you still have your dog tag from Survivor Series?
Yes, I do.
You do?
No.
Yeah, nice.
What's the relevance with a dog tag? Why a dog tag?
So here's my
random
thing.
items.
I don't know. To answer your question, I don't know. So people are watching this pay-per-view are supposed to be enticed by, they're like, I am not getting Survivor Series. No fucking way. Wait, what? Dog tag. Sign me up. Like, I mean, what kind of a promotional shit tactic is that? Come on. We've all been in sales in our lives. All of us on this call have been on sales somehow in our career. We've done sales or we've been a part of sales.
Sure.
And we've seen dumb stuff like this, by the way, from corporations that make millions. And I don't think it's because of a dog tag promotion that they made millions, by the way. I think it's because of a guy that they had sitting out there that started making a lot of money.
$25 t-shirts.
I don't remember Stone Cold ever selling dog tags. Maybe he did, but I don't think he did.
He probably did, actually.
Yeah, right. It was probably
they would have ran out.
Right. So I stand corrected violently. There was no shot.
And then after that, you have a nice little interview with what's deemed to be the clique of Shawn Michaels coming up with
DX.
You got Rick Rude in the back, you got Chyna, and you got Triple H, and they're all crowded in together. Shawn Michaels gives a Shawn Michaels promo like no other. And the funniest part is, like, there's a pause, and they all turn to Triple H, which is still Hunter Hearst Helmsley at this point. He starts to talk, and then they just cut him off.
Yeah,
it just got that. Live TV, folks, that was meant to happen. Apparently, and I just thought that was hilarious that Triple H got cut off before he was Triple H.
Craig enjoyed it.
I fucking 1,000%.
So we're gonna venture in here to the main event, the first ever Hell in the Cell cage match to determine the number one contender for the WWF World Championship coming up at Survivor Series between Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. 29 minutes, 59 seconds.
Can I say one thing before we kind of jizz all over this thing? Because you guys want to. I know you think it's fantastic and it's glorious.
Oh, like you don't.
Sure. But here's my only problem with Hell.
You're about to be triple team, Dave.
Probably. I'm just gonna say this one thing. You guys are gonna shit on me, and then we'll move on to how great it was.
Yes, we are.
But I just love every single time. One way in, no way out. Or one way in, one way out, and then they fucking find a way out. They always fucking find a way out. And I was like, no way out unless you kill a cameraman is what I discovered in this match.
Yeah.
Who I could have sworn was a wrestler for a second.
He was.
I was looking at it as a
He's a big dude.
No, but I'm over here like, come on, man. Like, how is that not? It's just so easy to figure out that they're going to get out. And without getting out, you don't see the great stuff on the outside. And I get that, but it's like, don't tell me that they're not going to be able to get out. Like, just stop it. Like, stop.
Dave, they fought beyond the realms. Okay. God.
Dave.
Okay, I am off the rails. Yeah, so go ahead and shit on it, and then we'll talk about how great it was. Go ahead.
Okay, so a lot of firsts are fine at the time, and then as years go by, you go back and watch them, and you're like, and you have to preface it with,
This was the first
you
one.
know, for the time, this was great, you know, and it was trend. I can go back and still watch this match now and still be like, this is just as good as fucking anything I've seen since. I've seen great Hell in the Cells. They've outdone themselves with Hell in the Cells for sure. But this match, Shawn Michaels, look, I got to start over again. I'm getting emotional. I hate Shawn Michaels.
I know.
So
I heard that somewhere.
I hate him. And however,
rightly so.
You need to recognize the talents of your enemies as well. And he's my sworn enemy, Shawn Michaels. However, he is so fantastic. And he was so fantastic. This is the first match, by the way. They didn't know how this was going to come off. They didn't know how the TV visibility was going to be. Right. Taker and Shawn had good chemistry before already. Like I said, a month before at the prior pay-per-view, they had a regular singles match, Taker and Michaels, from their debacle from SummerSlam. And they had a really good singles match. And it showed that these two guys had chemistry. It's poetic that both of them went on to have two of the greatest WrestleMania matches I've ever seen. And Taker ends Michaels' career years later. So this is where it kind of started between the two. They always had good chemistry with each other. And a lot of that has to do with Taker, but has to do with Michaels. I cannot stress enough the energy, the speed that he moved at the beginning when he was ping-ponging all around. Michaels is, I don't like his politics. I think that he always felt insecure, Michaels. I think he always felt like, and maybe that was chemically induced. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he never had to be that way because he was so heads and shoulders better than everybody else. Like almost it was, my God, like and the way he sold, it wasn't just a Rick Rude or Kurt Hennig sold, which is fine. They were great when they sold, but Michaels somehow took it to a different level. His selling was fucking like
the backdrop for in the ring to the mat.
Everything he did, Michaels, was just phenomenal, and he would do bumps. And again, this is coming from somebody who I don't like Michaels at all, mainly because of his backstage politics. But he would do some things that I would see over the years where I'm like, good God. And then you would watch an entire generation of wrestlers copy him years later.
Try to be him, yeah.
Whether he knew it or not, which probably not back here. He was influencing like 2 or 3 generations of pro wrestlers. Sure. You can't tell me somebody like Daniel Bryan didn't worship Michaels. You can't tell me that Edge and Christian didn't worship Michaels. You can't tell me that, you know, I kind of can name a bunch of people that watched Michaels, the Young Bucks, and, you know, all of them, Kenny Omega, all of them like were derivatives of Shawn Michaels. All of them were. CM Punk was as well. CM Punk was different. He was innovative with his offense, but like it just watching Michaels here, I'm like, man, the Young Bucks like especially. He's such a good pro wrestler. He is such an innovator. I hate saying it. It makes me so upset that I have to say it about him, but that's what I feel when I watch this match. Did they outdo it? Yes. They had a many, you know, Foley and Taker, it was a bigger spectacle. Triple H and Foley at No Way Out in 2000 was great. And so they've done different things. You know, Shane has jumped off the cage because, you know, he has to do everything wrestlers do and demean him. But like here, like Michaels didn't fall off the cage, but he climbed down the cage like maybe 10% and fell from the side of the cage to the table. Michaels did so much stuff
after he's already a bloody mess too.
Yeah, and he was bleeding on top of that, which adds to it or whatever. And Taker was right with him here on this. I don't mean to not compliment Taker.
Sure, Taker's awesome.
I'm embarrassed by saying thumbs up because that's the highest rating that we have. But I mean, like this match, like when you go back and watch it, it's not just because like I don't have to jizz all over it because I hate Michaels. I watched this match and I was like, God, everything they did, I was like, this match is phenomenal. This match still holds up now, and there's no surprise why cage matches were based off this afterwards and Hell in a Cell matches. They made the Hell in a Cell concept work. They might have used it after this if the match was so-so, but Taker and Michaels set the bar to where everybody that was put in Hell in a Cell after, you can't tell me that they didn't think we have to be just as good as Shawn and Taker. All the years after, all the years. Like, this is a great match. And I'm not even talking about the legendary debut at the end of the match, which we'll get to. But for the match and the concept, thumbs up. These guys were in uncharted territory. They had no idea how this match was going to go off. Again, like I was saying in the beginning, they didn't know how the production value was going to look. They didn't know if the camera shooting through the cage was going to be good. Did they have someone in there too? A cameraman in there?
Did a couple, yeah.
That's
so
how
like
they got out, right?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So, I mean, like they had no idea how any of that was going to look, and they absolutely hit a home run. So I love it. And I'm rambling. Go ahead, Dave. I love it.
I pretty much said everything.
Yeah, remember Shawn Michaels was cussing him out.
He hated it. You know, every move.
Get out of the way.
Shawn Michaels and Undertaker is unexpected magic. I think Undertaker is the kind of guy, you know, where, you know, you hear the stories about Hogan and Shawn's like, why don't I win the first one and you win the next two? And Hogan's like, how about I just win all three, Dick? You know, like, where Undertaker's like, no, let's work. Let's see what we can do here. And I think that's why over time you might hate the Undertaker as a character, which we did for the most of that career. But you got to respect the guy for like, no, this we could make this really, really good. Even though I outweigh you by over 100 pounds, let's see what we can do here. And, you know, we'll say why, but I mean, Shawn Michaels actually is the winner here. But when it really counts, you know, Taker's going to take these things over at WrestleManias later on. But I think that Undertaker could have been that guy. Like, no, this is not how it's going to work. I'm just going to kick your ass. And because Undertaker was on his way, we all knew that. But being able to work with Shawn and say, look, you know, let's just forget for a minute that I outweigh you by probably legit at least 80, 90 pounds. And I'm a full foot taller than you are. And, you know, you could argue that without that, Shawn may have not had the career he was going to have. So, you know, I think that's phenomenal and great on Taker's part. I give it a thumbs up as well, but you all know my beef about the sell. I'm like, you know, if you're going to stay in there, stay in there. But to your point, if you don't get out, you can't do the great stuff up top. So I just wish they'd be like, look, you know, you're going to end it in the cell, but you're going to use the cell. Just don't say you can't get out, because you're going to get out. And do you guys want to talk about the ending, or you want to go through anything else first before we do? Because
let's go to Craig. What do you think about the match and the first ever Hell in the Cell? What do you think about it?
Yeah,
there's so much I want to say, and more after like hearing both you guys kind of talk about it. This was the first one, and when you think about it, they shouldn't have went outside the cell, because the whole gimmick and the attraction of the Hell in the Cell, they should have stayed inside. But what they did, but they did, and they did a bunch of sequences where they did end up outside. They did end up on top of the cage. It was very, very tough to beat and top. And as Jess said, future matches took elements of this, but they took everything they could and drained every single piece of drop of juice out of this match. Yeah. The one thing about, and then the storyline itself with Undertaker and the chair shots, that struck me as this match itself. When you look at the promos and the packages they had of this match, the chair shots that Shawn gave to Undertaker, which kind of drove the physicality of Undertaker and the revenge that he needed to get on Shawn, it really said like 97 was such a different time, and these chair shots compared to 2020.
Oh, that's right.
This match was just
they both took in the chair. Oh,
it's a tribute to this time and the 97 and the difference between now and then. Like, they really put it all on the line. You have Shawn Michaels, who was hungry, who bled like a stuck pig. They spent most of the time outside of the match, and Shawn took everything and let Undertaker do everything that he wanted to do to him.
Godly! I have never seen anything like this in my life! Stop him!
Let's go back and we have a shot at some of what we saw. Look at this, Michaels! God, another look at it.
Backdrop from inside the ring, outside on his back. They fought on top of the cage, and knowing what was to come later on with Foley and Undertaker, they took backdrops and gorilla press slams on.
Didn't
and
Shawn almost kill Taker with a pile driver on the steps too, Craig?
Yes,
I thought he killed him.
It failed the first time, and then he picked it up and he did it again. Shawn knew there were two things about the cameraman. Shawn played. There was a spot where he killed the cameraman. It was obviously a planned cameraman, but even before that, it was teasing arrogant Shawn, telling cameraman get the F out of the way. But that was actually who Shawn was anyway. I mean, even 12 when he Savat kicked the cameraman or the timekeeper in the face. But it was so perfect to where I was screaming at Shawn. I thought he was a dick to be a dick, as a person during this match. And then I realized when he gets like backdropped over the rope and he kills the plant cameraman and then stomps him to death, that's the reason to lift the Hell in the Cell up. But all that stuff and him every moment and his facial expressions when he's getting the crap kicked out of him, knowing where the camera was at all times, and his facial expressions and his hair and his sweat, and like he looked exhausted. He just, everything Shawn did. And again, I just said the same thing. No disrespect to The Undertaker, who was in this dance with him. But from the blood to the top to the end, it was almost disrespectful to have the ending happen to this match. It was there was something so special about it.
Though the crazy thing is you're right. Is usually when a piece of art is built and they have a schmozz screw job kind of ending, it's always bad. However, the guy that debuted here at the end is a legend now, and it's because he came from this. And let me say, and I don't mean to cut you off, behind the scenes, Taker felt free here. Taker even said, I was trapped in the dead man gimmick for so long, from 1990 all the way up to like 96. And finally, when Foley came in 96, and then when he got to wrestle Brett a little bit at the end of 96, then he wrestled Michaels, they let Taker wrestle. Before it was just Taker no sold, sat up, sold. But here Taker was allowed to wrestle and work. And even though we say Michael stole the show and no disrespect against Taker, behind the scenes, Taker was finally getting the shackles taken off him here, and he was allowed to work, which we all saw what that led to as his WrestleMania streak started getting more important, and he would actually be the best worker on the card to defend the streak. So,
no doubt Taker can work.
That was key stuff that Craig said. Finish your thing, Craig. I'm sorry.
And then we all remember Foley being thrown off the cage, but Michaels wrestles 25 minutes and then gets thrown off him, throws himself off 3/4, if not 7/8 up the cage on the table with monitor sticking that probably hit him in the back that he misses, and then does more after that. Like he's as hungry as he's ever been, and he's trying to get over on Brett. And the next night on Raw, he tries to almost do like an Austin McMahon angle where he shows like the curtain call on the screen instead of the highlights from this match. And he's stealing, like he's just kind of recycling what's already beginning with Austin. And he wants to do that. But like for this night and this tribute, I was so thankful to see this match today. And I was like, wow, like, thank you for everything you did for the business. It's a different business now than it was. And I don't know how he got up in the morning and did Raw that next day. It's one of the best matches I've ever seen. And I don't think I've seen this in a long, long time.
I know everyone should every morning, but it's a sad story.
Correct. It was chemically
induced. What he had to do.
Yeah. But thumbs up for sure. It's stupid. Thumbs up.
I give it thumbs in the middle.
And Cuz, I'm sorry. Weigh in, Sting. Did you like Shawn Michaels' Sting?
You know what, man? The promos, I loved it because, the chair shots are brutal. But, like, growing up, when you're seeing Shawn Michaels, you think as the flamboyant Heartbreak Kid, and the flashy guy. But, like, the promos made him seem more like he can hurt you. And he'll hurt guys like Undertaker with chair shots. And he'll fucking hurt, he's a dangerous guy. Yeah he'll find a way. Like, he was kind of the weasel heel, but then at the same time was like, no, I'm going to take it to you, and I'm going to make myself look like a legitimate threat in this match, even though you're fucking 300 pounds, 6'10", and I'm 6 foot, 225, 30 pounds. I'm going to make it still seem like there's that danger there. Like, I'm going to take you out because I'm going to resort to anything to take you out. And yeah, like you guys have already mentioned, the way he sells everything from a boot to face. He sells the boot to face so good. The face smash into the turnbuckle. The cameraman, the beginning of him setting the stage, like, get the fuck out of my way, get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah.
But both guys, man, with this match, they set the bar because they're like, oh, well, yeah, you're thinking Hell in a Cell. We're going to stand here. No, we're going to set the bar and show you can utilize the Hell in a Cell anyway, as long as it makes sense. Injure the cameraman. Yes. Now we got to get out of the Hell in a... now there's a way out of the Hell in a Cell.
That makes a lot of sense. You triggered something in my brain. So we talked about the clusterfuck that was the flag match rules. This match from the beginning was you can only win by pinfall or submission. No, it was pinfall. That's it.
Yeah.
So the fact that they went out didn't bother me because I knew that it wasn't getting out of the cage that won. So it wasn't shocking when they got out.
Yeah,
it was... they had to finish it in the ring. So it ended up having to go back there. I think that was the key. Go ahead, cuz. Sorry, you triggered that in my head. I'm like, that's right.
Yeah.
Like,
really good point.
Because that's
to contrast the match before, this was the rules were simple and perfect in this.
But yeah, it was for that. It was for their match and their story, but also the show for future Hell in a Cell was like, hey, you can utilize the Hell in a Cell however you want to, which I'm sure prompted Foley. Well, why don't we start at the top, Taker? And then that's what led to that. But and then of course the ending, man, like all of it, the storyline building up, because even with that, like a looming like a horror movie guy or whatever, killer or whatever, you're thinking like, oh, this guy could be around any corner, and the build up with Paul Bearer teasing it every week with Taker, he's alive, Undertaker, and all that stuff. Well, I give it a thumbs up. The drop.
So
I was gonna say one more thing.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose kind of mimicked the Shawn Michaels bump too when they had their Hell in a Cell match. They climbed down like a quarter of the way, so they're still 3/4 up, and then they both bumped off of it like Michaels under the table without it being cleared. So that there you go.
So let's give all these crazy fans the idea of the finish here. So like you said, the brother of Undertaker is alive. It's being produced for weeks. Paul Bearer is going to bring somebody in. Blah blah blah.
Well, and Taker had him finished here, so you're like, Taker's going to beat Michaels.
Taker's got Shawn's number.
I just remembered something. Hold on. I remembered something because we didn't mention it in the DOA versus Los Pericas match. Brian Lee was the fake Undertaker.
This is where fans turn the
Change was the fake Undertaker. We got to it's related to Undertaker.
What? There's no fake Undertaker.
Yeah, there was.
We're talking about Hell in the Cell, and you went back to the Disciples of Puppets,
We didn't mention it earlier. We got it.
Why?
I have no control over him.
Why? He's nowhere to be seen here. Why?
We have no control.
Because we didn't mention it earlier.
And
we're talking about Taker right now. So I just
no, you're right. That's a very good point. There's a lot.
I'm just ready to read the credits. Jesus. Okay.
That's Craig has the right one. That's right. Absolutely, cuz fuck. You're so smart. Anyway, Dave, go on.
That's what you get for not mentioning Brian Lee.
Brian Lee was there. Dave, to you.
So when Taker has Shawn's number here, the lights go out, as Jess has said, and everything comes up, and Paul Bearer is coming out.
No, I didn't. I was talking about Brian Lee.
All right.
What are you talking about?
So Kane comes out,
Brian Lee.
and JR announces that's gotta be Kane, right?
Oh my God, wait a minute. It's Paul Bearer. It's Paul Bearer. And that's gotta be Kane. That's gotta be Kane.
Right. And what's great for Allure is that Kane literally
But what if it wasn't though?
Yeah, he's like, oh wait,
that's gotta be changed from DOA.
I couldn't get Kane for the evening, so I got Taker's cousin. Like it was just ridiculous, and like it was all bad.
Yeah, he wasn't available.
He doesn't want to come out yet, so
he had a prior commitment.
That's gotta be changed.
Kane literally rips the door off the cage, which was great for effect, and then comes in and gives.
However,
Undertaker.
it backs yours and Craig's criticism up that they already got out of the cage before. So the fact that he ripped the cage off was a strong message. Like nobody else can get in or out, but Kane can. Yeah. But you're right, they got out of the cage, so they showed they could do it. And then when he ripped the door off, I'm like, well. I mean, it shows his strength off, but he didn't do anything in the sense of like defeat the cage, right? He didn't like break the cage combo, you know.
They should have made a much bigger deal out of it. They locked the cage back up.
Did.
Hey, we got the cage locked. Everything's good now. They're going to finish it here.
After they got Taker and Michaels back in, they actually purposely showed them chaining up the cage door.
Yeah, but they
did.
To give that effect, like, oh shit, Kane ripped off the door.
I would have liked Jim Ross to be like, we had a union welder come in right now and weld the cage.
Yeah, they should have made a bigger deal out of it on the announcement. But there were so many bad flubs on the table where these guys I blame Vince.
While they're welding the cage, I just want to let everybody know that
you can argue if Vince
Brian was really tardy during school and not a good student.
Brian Pillman's drug dealer.
While they're chaining the cage,
so towards the end of that, basically
to signify he was a chain user,
walks in.
Brian Pillman shoplifted.
Jesus Christ. Gives Taker his own finisher, gives him the tombstone, walks out, and all Shawn has to do is cover Undertaker for the 1, 2, 3.
Full of his own blood. Michaels with presence of mind. A bloody mass.
throwing his arm over the Undertaker's chest. We have one. We have two. No.
Come on, no. No.
Three, and he did not say he did it all by himself, like Owen. So,
He's all bleeding.
What do you guys think? Because of all that great stuff that happened in the match, do you think this disparages the match? Do you think it's good? Tell me what you think.
No, if you told me on paper, I might say, if listening to you describe it and I didn't see it, I'd be like, why did they ruin the ending? But when you watch this ending, Kane's debut was legendary. Their face-off was awesome. And when Tombstone Taker, I was like, God, like, what a debut. But it could have flubbed after that, and that's a tribute to Glenn Jacobs because Kane
I thought that it could have been Shockmaster-esque if he fucked up the Tombstone, if he messed with the door in the cage. It could have, and if it was like tone deaf or like it just didn't work, you were like, this is
but not
stupid.
even that. Afterwards, they could have just had Taker beat him at Mania and be done with him, like cleanly. But the way they booked Mania was Kane kicked out of several tombstones. He resisted. He ended up losing, but Kane is a legend. I mean, I don't know anybody can say that he's not a Hall of Famer. Like Kane took this gimmick that was a piggyback of the Undertaker legacy, right?
Yes.
You know, it's your brother that never died in the fire. Like it was all that corny shit. It was all that corny stuff, but Kane is a legend. And Glenn Jacobs is a big reason because he listened to Taker behind the scenes. He understood pro wrestling, Glenn did, and he was awesome. And so, yeah, you can look back. This could have been a huge disaster, but it worked. People actually started to cheer Kane when he was a heel against Taker because they thought he was awesome. His entrance was awesome. Like, he was huge. Like, he stood
big. He was agile. He could work.
His original mask, by the way, was awesome, incredible. Like, everything about Kane was great. They even got away with fucking doing a lightning duel, and people still liked them. I don't know what if your characters aren't over at that point. You could take a shitty gimmick like that and make it work. Fuck, I don't know. Like Jesus, like it could have all gone wrong. And if you would have if I never saw it and I went over and I said, Dave, I missed Hell in the Cell tonight. At Bad Blood. What happened? Well, at the end, Kane. Why the fuck did they ruin that match?
Even though I like tampons,
when you watch it, you're like, this all is absolutely perfect. Nothing was wrong with it.
This is why I'm a Ring of Honor guy.
In my opinion, that's why I like New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I think Hogan got Kane's ear though, because when Kane was holding Taker for the tombstone, he was looking at every angle of the audience, like every side of the ring's off. He starts spinning. Glenn, brother, you gotta look at the crowd before you hit the tomb. Yeah. You gotta, brother.
He was. He didn't know. He didn't know which angle to turn for the camera.
You gotta give him the Gaga, brother.
I gotta give him.
It actually looked like how low he had him. Looked like he could have dropped him on his head, but Taker tucked his head, and it was a good thing he wasn't made sure his knees hit first. Taker, it was epic, man. Epic. Epic.
Yeah,
exactly.
It was well done. The whole thing was well done.
On like sensitive like debuts like this, so much more could go wrong than go right. And these guys, there was no mess ups at all.
And then after this, the Shawn like lifting his head out of the pool of blood and just draping his arm over Undertaker, I think that was a very important. Like it went, it almost like Kane just debuted, but then it closed and ended with the war and the battle these guys just had, and then it was just kind of perfect from that. Like he was in a pool of blood.
Didn't go to WCW.
Yes. And we all know what would happen a month later. Shawn would get the title shot at Brett. Brett would beat him fair in Montreal, and Brett would go on another 30-year career in WWF, and it was all fine.
Oh, that's what happened.
And then they tagged up together and won the Rocker Foundation for like the next 20 years.
Yeah, they were best friends, blah, blah, blah. Everything was fine after that. So it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. So overall, I would say I give this pay-per-view a thumbs down. But the opening match and the ending match, the opening match, ending match saved it. The ending match is legendary, and maybe I'm wrong. I think the closing match was so good it could raise it to a thumbs in the middle. But every other match.
I'll tell you just, it doesn't give it to a thumbs middle, and I'll tell you why. It's because of Vince, and it's all his fucking
He
fault.
made me mad with the way he handled Pillman's death. That really pissed me off.
Yeah, I would give it a thumbs middle if Brian Pillman was mentioned once, condolences, and moved on. And
if you're actually listening to this podcast and you actually are going to go back and watch it, I can just tell you from a work rate, if you don't give a shit about the way Vince treats Pillman or whatever, which is fine, it's your prerogative. Every match sucked except for the opening match. I'm just talking a wrestler fan here of work rate and if it flows or whatever. The opening match was very good and worth watching, and so was the main event. Everything else, one of the best matches of all. Everything else was not worth.
I think that's why I would give this event a thumbs up. The first match was a thumbs up. If you only remember the first thing and the last thing,
yeah.
The rest of the 2.5 hours, that's okay.
Plan,
I will give this event a pay-per-view.
I think that was the plan,
Oh no. Hit us up on Instagram at OWP2019. Yes. Click on Linktree. You can find us on several platforms, including Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast. And don't forget, we're also part of the Wrestle Hub family, all about wrestling podcast. Catch them at the Wrestle Hub on YouTube.
Could I be Undertaker's family too, brother?
This is Clark Kent, Super Trooper, Sting,
and
Dracula, signing off with the OWP. Have a good one. Say it with me.